Well. Which flip socket at this point is the best to go for? So I've been using the Milwaukee, the Klein, a few of the Kleins, and now the Malco flip bits where they're like 7-in-1, 9-in-1, a whole bunch of different sizes, and they're honestly super convenient, but how do they stack up against each other? This is totally my opinion. I bought all of these whenever I saw them coming out. I wanted to try them. You can never have too many of these. I put them in different bags. They always come in clutch. And like I said, my opinion, no sponsors, nothing was sent to me. I bought all of these. And after this video, hopefully it helps you make your own decision. I'm not going to tell you which one to buy. It's just, you know, how did they hold up in the field, and what are the pros and cons of each one? Because right now I don't think any one of them is perfect. All right, so right now I got the Malco bit. I've been using them all, but usually it's holding on kind of, it's like biting them. Because yeah, I drop a lot of them with the Malco bit. It already has a lot of gunk on it. It's on there. Fuck. That's a new coil. That's a new compressor. All right, let's switch over to the Milwaukee. I deal with a lot of rusted screws, so is that the only? Milwaukee's not even catching. Looks good to me. All right, so I'm gonna go back to the trusty old Klein I've never had the magnet fall out. I know that's a big issue with everybody with the Klein. So let's start taking out some screws. I have the unit running because I need to look at something first. Catches. Somebody stripped out all these holes, and so far it's caught them all. Something doesn't sound right. Yeah, so we got one that's not running. These are all rusted out. Let's see if it even didn't not catch that one. It's always going to be hard with old equipment, but it catches it for the most part. So I don't want to condemn it because it is cooling, but you know we got a leak because that line's not sweating back, and I'll have to write it up. So I didn't know if I was going to unplug it or not, but I'm going to let it run. So right now we have the OG, which is the Klein. Then I got the Milwaukee right here. These are both, this should just be a 6-in-1. This should be a 7-in-1 because you can add a bit to it. And then this is also a 7-in-1 now by Malco. So Malco started it. I've had a few of their old school regular flip bits. Just never liked that you had to pick either this setup right here, 5/16 to 1/4 inch, or you had to get a 5/16 to 3/8. So when these started coming out, these were great because I could get all the sizes together. I didn't have to pick one of these or have two of these on me at all times. I could just have one of these right here. All right, so where do we start? This is the one that I've had the longest. This is the Klein 7-in-1. You got 6 different sizes. They go from 5/16, 1/4 inch, 11/32, which some people complained about, but I actually use this on condenser motors, and you see it quite often in the HVAC world. You also have 3/8 common, and then 7/16 and half inch. I actually use the 7/16 on motors and stuff like that, blower motors. A lot of bolts are that size, so this was perfect, right? And then the caveat here was that you could turn this 1/4 inch and slide it up just a bit until it like clicks. That's seated all the way down. It clicks right there. And you can get something like a Phillips bit and throw it in there, right? So with it all the way down, it sticks out too much, it'll fall out. And that's what helps get the magnet also very close to the screw. But when you slide it up into that position, bam, you have a Phillips bit, and I'm sure you have a ton of them in your van. I have a kit specifically that has all the Torx bits, Phillips, different flat sizes, and anything you would need, square heads. You can put them all in here because it takes essentially 1/4 inch bits. So that's what drew me to this one, the Klein. I'm like, oh cool, they have 7-in-1 and I can throw my Phillips, because before that I actually had a Milwaukee, funny enough, because I have different ones, but this was my extension bit for getting those Phillips screws in tough to reach spots behind a lot of the wiring and parts that I see in the HVAC equipment. I could also throw in a flip bit or whatever socket that I had to make an extension. So that's what I was using before, and this kind of eliminated that because you could just do that little trick there and put in, and this is your extension now. So basically you had all these sizes on there, you had an extension, so you could get rid of something like this, you could get rid of you know, these dedicated drivers and just have a flip bit socket set that gave you some extra bits, right? You could throw in the 1/4 inch bits and you're good to go, whatever you guys use. I mostly use the Phillips, which is why another one of these brands I'll be okay with. But as far as like taking the most universal, the most bang for your buck is going to be the Klein, because it takes any 1/4 inch bit. Now the complaint that I've heard is the magnet. It does come out quite a bit. It is not flush, it is not recessed. It actually comes out a bit to you know, help grab, because the magnet's right outside. So some people said that it falls out. They've lost them. I've had this one for probably over a year. Never had an issue with it, probably a couple years. And I have another Klein one here. Never had an issue with the magnet coming out. They did change the magnet there, as you can tell, but they keep slimming down the profile. So they've had a few iterations of the same flip bit. But I've never had the magnet fall out. I can't speak on that point. That is going to be the common issue. I'm just going to let you know that you might have your magnet fall out, which is why it's very important. If you guys buy it, most likely from, well, before it was Home Depot, but now it's going to be Lowe's. Make sure you keep the receipt, or if you order it online, I had to order a lot of my stuff online, then make sure that you have the receipt and take care of it through warranty. There's always going to be issues, like I said, pros and cons on each one. So that is the Klein one, and then they introduced this. What is this, like a 9-in-1? This is the one that I'm actually carrying right now because it adds 3/4, 5/8, and 9/16. Now I've used the 9/16 quite a bit. I actually have dedicated pass-through sockets in my bag that I was carrying before, where I might be able to get rid of them because I have it now on this all-in-one little flip bit. And I want to say I've used one of these sizes at one point, but these are going to be a little more rare. They're good to have though. I mean, big sizes, big bolts, you might need to get them, and you don't want to go back to the van. You can have them all here. And I'll explain a little bit later, but you lose the 11/32 with this one, right? Some people wanted or didn't like the 11/32. They preferred 9/16, and Klein kind of made that version of it. I think there's even the smaller one that has the 9/16 instead of the 11/32. So there are different versions of them. So for me, having one of these, like I had the 9-in-1, and then I have the little flip or the Phillips bit, and then I have a stubby version. I kind of just put those on some bit holders. So this one goes in my bag because it's too big, but you could realistically have all these on some bits, keychain style, on your bag, and you need a certain size, you need a Phillips, you got all your bits on these bit holders. Everything that I use is going to be in the description in the tool link. So it's on my website. Basically, you can go to the reliablehvacr.net, go to the tool link. Everything I recommend or use in the field is going to be listed in there, and I try to keep it up to date as most as I can. Now, the other thing I want to take note on is I bought these separately, and I think I bought, it was this kit right here. So it is a Klein with some storage, some bits in here, and you can take these bits out and put them on those bit holders, like I said, because I thought I liked this the most, and this handle has just been super frustrating. So this is what it came with, because on this one, all the little notches, you can put it in there, and like you need that size, okay, you need it super short, you got whatever size you need, and it locks into place. You can go all the way, get yourself a pretty long nut driver. So this handle, I've had so many issues with it, it's already ripping too. But like going to turn it, that rubber part just free spins. So I gave up on this. I have other bits in my tool bag. I might just take out, like the little Schrader core remover, because this is an HVAC specific 14-in-1 that I always get the HVAC versions. It has the little extractors, different sizes on the other bits, torque bits, and then that Schrader remover. But this handle has been a nightmare. Sometimes they don't get stuck. Right now they're coming off super smooth. I have not oiled them or anything. This is just the oldest one that I have. You can see it's already worn down a little bit. And it is the easiest one so far, because I guess because it's like the oldest and it's already smoothed out. So I have no issues kind of changing out and getting whatever size I need, because you do have to pull the two from the bottom, because the top one will not go down, and then you place whatever size you need on top. And then if you need to store them, I mean, you can put them in your pocket, but if you need to store them and use it, then you have to slide them through the bottom. So they're all kind of the same. This one can push the top one up because it goes a little bit past. but essentially they lock into these little grooves right there, and that's where they're supposed to sit, but they never do. Milwaukee, on the other hand, has come out with their own flip bits. This was a while back. This handle is super nice, so I am keeping this in one of my bags, and it's the same thing. So that's a kit that you can get. This is the multi-impact from Milwaukee. So this whole set right here, like I said, very comparable, and this is going to be the version, like I said, I think Klein has one now too, where it's everything except the 11/32 is swapped out for the 9/16. So this is a very good set of bits here as well, and you're gonna slide these out the bottom. Now this one I don't use it as much, so it is a little tough. So unlike the Klein that I showed earlier, the Klein has it where I said it kind of is raised a little bit. Maybe that's why it falls out. The Milwaukee one is actually recessed in there. So there's a lip around it from the shaft, which makes it just a tad bit weaker. So the Milwaukee one is kind of like the old school version, kind of like the old Malcos and other little flip bits that were just, one flip or one flip bit. They had that lip there. So that's kind of what Milwaukee has done so that, you don't run into any of them pushing on each other. There's a lip, a little collar. Now notice how I put these on. So that one slides on fine. This one gave me a little bit of trouble. I tend to hit it to get it on there. That's going to be an issue with the next one. So this is a Milwaukee, pretty straightforward. Each size, you can see how it's kind of shaped. So no complaints on the Milwaukee one, it's been fine. But does it take 1/4 inch bits? Not really. You can force it on there, put it on there. You can maybe loosen it a little bit or put it somewhere in between. But no, I mean, it's gonna be loose. If you want to get it, it's not meant for it. And then we have the newest to the game, which is the Malco. So on the Milwaukee one, there's nothing special about it. You get 6 sizes, you get that magnet that's recessed, and it's your traditional, basically, style from the old Malco ones, the original ones, or any of the other ones. There's DeWalt, there's a lot of them do them now. So we go back to the kind of the originator of these that had them out before. This is the Malco version. So the thing with the Malco one is you got your 6 flip sockets. This one is not that same black that's usually impact rated on the Klein and the Milwaukee. So I'm not 100% sure if that holds up the same, if there's a reason why it's silver or gray. You get the 6 bits. The only issue with this one, and I'll put them all 3 on the impact so you can see. So these other ones, they have a specific end for the impacts or any of these screwdrivers that take the same bits, and they lock into place. This one, I believe, goes into their own proprietary screwdriver handle. I'm not sure what it's called. I'll put it up on the screen right now if there's a name for it, and it probably pertains to some certain style of handles, but it is technically a 7-in-1. The only catch is they make you pick what bit you want permanently in the tool that you buy. So I purchased the Phillips head. You can also get a square or a Torx, I believe. So where is the Phillips bit? No, you cannot add anything onto it. It is a permanent 7-in-1. You need to pick the 7th bit. So under the hood, so to speak, you're going to pull the top off, which does not want to come off. and there's your bit. It is built into the shaft. Now the funny thing with this, I feel like they could have done a couple different things with this, or why not make this side an impact, you know, standard. You know, why not just make that be able to lock into a impact? But let's say you want to use the Phillips, you need to remove, I think, this one does get stuck on me quite a bit. Let's see. I just poked my finger. Okay, you can pull them all the way down and you expose the Phillips, but it does not fit into any of these handles that I have. So if you put this in any of the ones that you're used to using with these impact rated shafts, or you know, that are made for impacts, it doesn't lock in. I mean, you can put them in there, it's the same size. Put it in there and it kind of do what you need to do. It's usable. It'll kind of have some friction on there to hold it, but it comes right off, right? So it's not going to fit in the Klein one, and then that end can technically be forced on an impact, and it'll stay on there, but it's just going to slide out. All it is that little ball, you know, slides in and locks it, or tension. So that's the style that they went with on this. So how is it meant for impacts or anything else? You actually need to use the Phillips end. So you're gonna have to take off these. So when you're gonna use the sockets, it comes out the Phillips side. So having it like this is not ready to use. You gotta slide it out. You gotta put it on the other end. That's ready to use, and now you can put it in your impact, and it does lock. It locks in on the Phillips end, and you can use it that way. Then you can put it in the handle. It's gonna have give because it's not the same. The play is a little different, and now you can put it, like I said, in any of these handles that take it. You're gonna have to put the Phillips end in if you want it to lock. I mean, technically, like I said, you could force it in one. You gotta hold the collar back, force it in there, and then you can try and use it like this. So it is useful. It can be used in different ways, but the way they want you to use it is, if you're gonna use any of the bits on here, you need to flip it over and use the other end while having the Phillips end in there. So which one would you like? It is a bit of a hassle, but I've noticed that I only use the Phillips bit for these. I have other screwdrivers that I use for other things, like for a flathead or anything like that. And then I use Allen keys more than I do Torx bits or anything like that. So I have dedicated tools for that. But for my everyday call, I usually need a good set of nut drivers, which could be any one of these, honestly, and a Phillips bit. So could I use this on the daily? Yeah, the Malco bit is perfectly fine. Now this one, when it gets stuck, like I mentioned, how I take off most of these is, or put them back on, is I kind of hit the back, which doesn't hurt, doesn't do anything to me. This one, you're feeding it through the Phillips side. So they are getting, I mean, it is brand new, or I've had it for a couple weeks. But if I want to get it in there quick, I'm kind of stabbing myself with that Phillips bit. So that's just a habit that I have, and I already poked my hand a few times out in the field. All right, so quick demonstration with the, I have a couple of screws here. They're all used, but some of them are in good condition. One of them has some rust on it. So like the way I pick them up, usually, is I'll go over and try and pick them up. So that is the Malco one. The Malco one is very snug. I'm only going to be testing 5/16 here, but it's very snug, and that's what kind of holds it pretty well. But like, you know, going in there, and then if there's any little force on it, it's gonna fall out. I had a bunch of them fall out like that, but I mean, it does the job, right? It gets the screw. See, this one's a lot looser. A little bit of force gets it out. Let's see, the Milwaukee. So if I'm going around, that one picks it up pretty well. This one I think gets it closer to the magnet too, because it is grabbing it pretty well. Let's go for that loose screw and the rusted one. Now the loose one. Kind of the same as a Malco one. And then let's try the Klein. Now the Klein is the one that has it out. Actually, the magnet is sticking out. So let's get the screws. You can feel the pull on those. And then we're gonna get that loose one that the other ones had a hard time with. Does not feel as loose. Won't let go because that magnet is sticking out and actually grabbing or making contact with that screw, and this is the loose one that all the other ones have dropped. Now a lot of these are interchangeable, so I have the old, no, that's not it. I have the old one, which, like I said, these new ones have that little spring built into it. The old ones do not. But I have the old flip bit, the regular one that everybody probably had. These, I wonder if they fit. Oh, they don't fit. You're gonna need a longer one. So that's a bummer. If you have any of these old ones, they're kind of useless except for what they came with. So you cannot reuse them. I still carry them as backups because you never know when you need like a really short bit. This is a new one, or not a newish one that Klein started selling, where you can buy like a long and short in a set. I think they also sell this. They have a whole bunch of kits now, but this one is a Klein. So let's say I have one of these laying around. This is the older, taller one, and I wanted to use a Malco on there. That's the same thing. It's loose, right? Because it has these grooves. It's not going to let it sit. It's not the same system. Yeah, you really need to, you can't really cross. So if I have like the Klein again with the big Klein bits, that does lock in. That's the cool thing about the Klein ones, is if you buy this big one that has all the different sizes, and I would recommend picking up a shorter one, but of the same, you know, brand Klein. You can use these in here, which I do use often, and then I'll use something here to ratchet if I need a real low profile socket, you know. All right, guys, so I hope you all enjoyed the video. Every now and then I'll just go out and buy some random tools, and I really thought these were unique. The Milwaukee is pretty standard, pretty solid, not a big issue. What I did like or really enjoy was the handle to it. It's pretty sturdy. Nothing on it has messed up. It doesn't move much. So I think Malco makes some pretty solid handles too. I've just never tried them out, but this Milwaukee one, I mean, if you buy this screwdriver set, this is a pretty solid choice if you just need some extra bits. You know, you can't go wrong with this, pretty standard. The Malco here is very unique that you have to pick the bit that you want. And it takes a little getting used to, because I'm not used to the order that you got to use it in and all that stuff. So kind of putting them away takes some getting used, and I want to hit it again. I don't want to stab myself. This one has been pretty rough. I'm going to try and use it to get it to loosen up a little bit. but I've been using it for a couple weeks already. And my only thing is I keep stabbing myself. So this one, like I said, the only annoying part is we're like on a Klein that it's meant to have the Phillips. You can use it on the impact. So getting those screws that are in hard to reach spots are, I mean, it's pretty intuitive, easy to use. This one, if I want to use a Phillips and kind of get some long, because you're going to use an impact Phillips bit for just screws that are like finely threaded or like extra long, and you want to get them out instead of getting carpal tunnel on a screwdriver. So I am disappointed that this requires you to reverse it, and like, you know, it's kind of annoying for me because I've never had an issue with the magnet. The Klein is really the go-to for me. I'm gonna try and use the Malco one a little bit more. See if I can get it to kind of break it in, you know, and wear it out a little bit. See how it does. But yeah, I mean, it's unique, it's different. Just pick the bit that you want. If you want something more universal, that you already have bits and you want to just put in, the Klein is a good one to go to. Just be wary of the magnet. Try and get it replaced under warranty. And if you just want a solid all-in-one screwdriver with a good handle, because the Klein one, like I said, does suck. So one quick tidbit. I couldn't remember which one it was because I've been switching between them to kind of get a good feel for them. Milwaukee drill, Milwaukee flip socket, impact, rated, impact, ready. So when you put it in, it feels like it's in, but it's not. So let me just even get the Malco one. You put it in, it locks. You put in the Klein one, it locks. Let's go back to the Milwaukee. You put it in the same way, just you think it's in, it's not. You gotta actually either get it in there, which I didn't even get it in. I thought force would have done it. No, you gotta flip the collar up to get it in. If you don't, it won't lock. So that's weird that it's the Milwaukee bits that don't lock in securely. So yeah, I haven't been able to get it just to clip in on its own. If I can show it, it's right there. I gotta flip the collar up for it to lock. Not locking, flip it up, locked. But you be the judge. What did you like or dislike about them? Which one do you use? Which one do you prefer? What brand do you prefer? And you know, just let me know in the comments if you guys have any of these are your go-to and all that stuff. So remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. See you guys.